Hi everybody, I'm Chadney McDonald from Fort Payne, Alabama, and welcome to my G.I. Joe collection.
Hello, YouTube. Welcome to another edition of Star Wars Collections and Displays. I'm Jack. With me always is Jim. We have another very special collector here today. He's going to share his collection with us. I'm going to hand it over to you. Mr. Collector, if you can, introduce yourself. Where are you zooming in from? Tell us a little bit about your collection.
Chadney McDonald. I'm from Fort Payne, Alabama. We live in the northeast corner of it.
Alabama. I love it. I think
yes,
this might be
sir.
our second Alabama person. I don't remember. Yes. Very cool.
That's crazy.
Tell us a little bit about your collection. What are you collecting back there?
I started out with Star Wars, then ended up swapping over to G.I. Joe from what, 82, 83 to like 87, 88, those years.
The sci-fi years, you kind of got out then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it was just, I done it because I stayed in the house all the time. So my mom and grandma would give me something to play with other than like Atari or Nintendo at that time. So
sure.
it was really cool. And I've got family that's in the military. So it was kind of a neater meaning to have some stuff kind of like what they would have or use, things like that.
Going from Star Wars to G.I. Joe. Yeah, you're a bit of a multi-collector here. Usually we have, Star Wars collectors. We've had a few G.I. Joe collectors. This is a real like blending of the two. Why did you switch? Why did you go from Star Wars to G.I. Joe? Something about military and the family? Any other reasons?
When I was 7 years old in 1982, our house caught on fire and I had a large collection of Star Wars and most of it got destroyed. So after that, G.I. Joe was a new thing. So we went to the G.I. Joes and I really got into the G.I. Joes more because it was more realistic to me, more interesting than Star Wars. And I never went back.
Got it. I see. A force of nature.
And so go ahead.
Go ahead.
Your collection of Star Wars would be the original 70s stuff.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Maybe episode 1, at best episode 2.
Four.
I'm sorry, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And
the cool thing was my cousin had all of them as we got older. He was so meticulous with his, you couldn't touch them, but he had them all sitting in a room set up, but nobody could play with them. He didn't even play with them. He just looked at them.
He must be related to somebody I know.
Probably. But I laughed for years. He always had the AT-AT and all the big stuff like that I wanted. I started out with the Y-Wing, the TIE Fighter, had the Millennium Falcon, had the troop transport, our laundry list of characters, from Han Solo to R2-D2 to the CP-3O, Chewbacca, Han, all of them.
And all that was lost in the fire?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was in the middle of January, right at my birthday. And it was one of the coldest years at that time that we had ever seen. And as the fire department was trying to spray the water, it would freeze in midair and just fall.
Oh my goodness.
There was nothing you could do. It was a complete loss.
And that was in northeastern Alabama. You were in the same area.
Yeah.
Still same.
Yeah.
Area.
Yeah. I'm probably 2 miles from where my house burned, where I live now.
You've got some roots there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All my family grew up in this area right here. My grandparents' house was here. Our house was up the road. Aunts, uncles were all around within, a 5-minute walk or ride,
Interesting.
Just an old hick town kind of place. We're not big fancy or nothing like that. We still roll the sidewalks up at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I spent the afternoon working on a little family tree or family history project. But as you're talking about it, it reminds me of another branch of the family, last name Serber, Suber, and it happens to be in a part of Kentucky called Palousca County. And as I look in there, it's like everybody in that town is related to us or to each other or something like that. And I'm sure
Is
in a
that where
sense,
your
kind
family's
of,
originally from?
well, the Cerbers come from Switzerland of all places, but
Oh,
there's
okay.
a big group of them in
Yeah.
Palousca County. And a little interesting side note that as I was looking on a map one day of Palousca County, Kentucky, I noticed next door to it is Daniel Boone State or National Park.
Park. Yes, sir. I've been up through there.
And
It's probably 6 hours from my house.
Okay.
really, and I started
I
doing
would.
some more investigating, and it turns out I am not related to Daniel Boone.
Oh,
Are
that
you
could
I'm
have happened.
disappointed?
I'm related to his wife.
Oh, that
Well, you're
side.
still
Wow.
in Southern terms. Then you're related because
Yeah.
once you marry the husband, the wife is part of it too.
And the
Speaking of wives,
weird
I like
irony
to
at
go.
all of that was she married his brother,
Yeah.
and then Daniel, who never did die, just showed back up again and went, "What the TF?"
Wow.
Before I get real far, I want my wife to say hi to y'all because she is my backbone of doing a lot of this stuff. Like she helps me search it out. Come here and say hi. She just got off of work from the ICU unit. She's
Oh
still
my
in her
goodness.
outfit.
Hello there.
Hey,
Hi, wife.
That's Jack. This is Mr. Jim.
Mr.
how
Jim.
are you? How are you?
They said, "How are you?"
I'm good.
But
Well,
she's the one
thank you for
that,
your health
that has.
care.
Yes, she's always wanted to be a nurse. And with my crazy health, the way it's been the last few years, every time she thought about going back to college, I got screwed up with something weird or about checked out once or twice. And I finally think I got me squared away enough. I sent her back to school so she could take care of me instead of some other person.
That's the
You
way to
know,
do
I
it.
made an investment on my end.
You've
There
got
you
an
go.
in-home nurse now. That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
let's kind of jump into it. What, as far as Star Wars items that you have, what is it you're collecting? Are they action figures, vehicles, helmets, lightsabers, comics?
Believe it or not, I just like the vehicles and the figures. I've never been really big into reading comics. I like strumming through one every now and again, but mine is actually getting it out, playing with it, putting it back up. That's my enjoyment, whether it be with the figures or it be with the vehicles or just whatever, as far as that goes. But that's what I enjoy. That's why I got back into G.I. Joe 3 or 4 years ago when I started back collecting again. That's why. Because I'm 50 years old right now, and 3.5, 4 years ago, I'd lay in the floor. First toy I bought back was the bridge layer. And as my wife is standing here, she would tell you, I would get in the floor and play with it. Now, I might not get it back up like I used to as a kid, but I'd sit here and I'd run around the floor, play with it, make it operate, do all the crazy sounds with your mouth, be another, 10-year-old kid again.
Well, since we're straddling on the Star Wars and G.I. Joe realm of things, I'm going to twist the same question and ask in regards to G.I. Joe. What is it you're collecting there? Are they the action figures, the vehicles? I
All
don't
of
think
it.
I have
Except,
lightsabers, but what in the
no,
Joe sense are you collecting?
the vehicles and the people and just like the little outpost or the tank or the flag, stuff like that.
Now,
Just the
You know,
flag.
interesting note. As I looked through all the images you sent to me, I don't remember seeing a Joe in there.
uh, oh yeah,
I saw
there's,
vehicles. I saw the neat thing we're going to talk about in a little bit. And
I'll
I
put it
saw
in
a few
here.
things, but of course, keep in mind, I'm a '60s Joe guy, so I'm thinking
Yeah,
12 inchers.
I don't have the 12. Mine's all the 3.75.
Okay, okay. So you're
And, and,
into which
and when
which
the
is the
class
next question on the list? The scale. Which scale is it?
3.75, that's the ones I enjoy. There's a lot of people that love getting these new classified editions that are 6 inch or, 5 and something near the 6 inches tall. I like going back to the original stuff I grew up with because that's what I played with, and that's just what I fell in love with.
Right.
Because like you said, the 12-inch ones become before my time, which would have been cool. But at the time I got into this, you couldn't find them as well as you could the 3.75. And then the classified editions started coming out, and they look really cool and really lifelike to me. And I like that, but they're still not the original toy to me in my time. So I go for what's, my time period of 82 to 88, somewhere in there. And I love the newer stuff, even when you get into like where they've changed the colors of them to the bright and they're, Space Force stuff and the Defiant, all the big stuff there. But I stay within this amount of year here to this year here. And I try not to mix it. So it's not that I have to go on and collect more of years that I didn't get to play with, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. What are those years? Define those years.
I go from 1982 to 1988.
Okay.
That's my prime years, and all the guys that I played with in school and all that, because you had the Transformers, you had Star Wars Transformers, G.I. Joe, you had the masked people and different stuff, but we all just took the hit to G.I. Joe. I got a buddy, he loved He-Man,
Right.
And stuff like that. I never got into all them, the others like I did this one. And I can't tell you why, other than either that my two kinfolk were in the military and I just thought that was neat, and it was something that they kind of represented and was involved with. So it just kind of drug me into it, wanting to be a G.I. Joe, wanting to be, dress up in camouflage, go get me a gun, swim the swamps, swing from tree to tree and be one.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but was there not a pretty big cartoon series for G.I. Joe during
Yes, sir.
that time?
They are.
Yeah.
And you can, and I love it since I've been back at home and not on the road. I have found Tubi has it. I get on Tubi at night when there ain't nothing else on TV, and I sit there and I'll watch episode after episode of it and just going, man, I'm back in the fourth and fifth, sixth grade, getting home in the afternoon just in time to watch cartoons. And that was my cartoon I got to watch.
Our next question would tend to be what series or story or movie is it that you're basing your collection on? And so on the one side of the Star Wars stuff, since you're the 70 years, that's got to be just episodes 4 and 5 kind of characters.
Yeah, they were.
And then with
You know,
regards to the Joe side of it, was there a certain story or character in that era that you kind of have
just
a liking for?
just the cartoon turned me on to it. Then getting to go to Walmart and pick out a figure that was in a pack, or go pick out a vehicle that was in a box, and you just look at the box and go, man, that's cool. I just want to play with that. That's where it would get me. I would be like, I'd save up my allowance, or I'd do odd jobs as summertime, and go buy them and do this and do that just so I could have them. Because back in the 80s, they wasn't but $3 or $4 for a figure. So that wasn't real bad. You could do, you mow your yard a couple times and go, hey, can I go to Walmart and get me 2 or 3 figures? And here you go. And if I was really good and my mom hadn't had to beat on me for doing something dumb, she'd buy me a vehicle. May not be a large one. It may be one of the smaller ones, this and that. And it would show, uh, and I'd have it where I could play with it while I'm watching the cartoons, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does.
That's
Your
interesting.
overall collection combined with both Star Wars as well as the GI Joe, approximately how many figures or items do you think you have?
Wow. Uh, I got over 100 figures, loose and in packaging. Vehicles and stuff. Uh, I'm going to say in the upwards of 75 pieces.
Wow.
Vehicles. Wow.
Well,
Yeah, just,
and
in the last 3.5 years, I've been lucky. I've been able to find stuff, buy it, horse trade around on stuff. Like I'd have extra of this and the guy would want that and he'd have what I'd want. We'd swap around, and do things like that as far as going through collection. And I'm not bragging, but I say that 90% of my collection is 100% of, like, the figure will have file card, gun, helmet, hat, whatever. And the vehicles would have their blueprints, all the stickers, the correct years and everything else, as far as that goes. Just to think of, like, you opened up a box and you pull it out and it's all there. I've even collected some of the boxes to go with stuff. The only one that I found that I just haven't bought, and it's the Flagg box. And man, people are crazy over that piece of cardboard that's 40 years old. And I'm afraid if I bought it, say, out in California and they ship it to me, I'm afraid by the time it gets here to Alabama, it'd be destroyed.
Well, first,
and
it'd be a huge, just to kind of even put that thing folded together in.
Yes.
And then you'd have to have a huge room just to hold the box, let alone the flag.
It would be mounted like this map behind me. It would be mounted and put on the wall.
Like a fish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got, like, with my flag, I've got a background that's 8.5 foot around. Like I could put it in a corner of a room and it has the 7 seas behind it,
It's
ocean. And clouds and all that, just like it's going across the water.
It's unique and fun to have the box of the item that you really liked. I have a couple of items, but as neat as having the box is, it becomes a problem for storing it.
Yes, you can't find enough room.
You should not have given me the box to begin with.
I started buying a few of the pieces with the boxes, and of course that does increase the value of it. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like you, where am I going to put this at? I have a basement and I've got totes full of boxes, and I'm thinking, I can't display them because I don't have enough room in my living room. Because my wife, and I love her because she could have killed me when I bought the flag, because I promised her when I brought it home, I wasn't going to set it up. Well, about 3 days it's sitting here, I went and bought me a 4 foot table and started laying it out, started setting it together. She comes home and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I just had to do it." And it has become a killer project. I mean, it's all 100% there. The only thing I don't have is a box.
Probably a killer issue too.
It sits in my living room, and all my friends walk in, and you'll see them as they come in. They're like, "You wasn't kidding. You have a boat in your living room." I'm like, "Yes, I told y'all."
7.5 foot long boat.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and officially acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that is you have one of the
flag.
The who?
It's the U.S. flag, USS Flagg. It is G.I. Joe's holy grail for the Joe side.
Comparable to the Star Wars barge?
Probably.
Yeah, that's a piece.
I mean, it's a real rarity to find one. And like I said, I'm 50. I seen one when I was 10 years old at Walmart in the box, brand new. And I almost had my mother talked into buying it for me then, because my birthday's in January. I said, "Mom, we'll split Christmas and my birthday, and we will buy this." And we had lived in a smaller house then, and my mom was looking around, and my mom was 5'2". Yeah, I was seeing her try to pick the box up at Walmart. She goes, "How big is this?" And the box is humongous. Even as I was a taller kid, it was all I could do to pick it up.
Right.
And she got to reading the size of it, and she goes, "Honey, where are you going to put this? Because we're not going to let you leave it outside and get destroyed." And I said, well, I said, the best thing I know, I can put it on my bed and it'll be part of the bed from here on out. And she said, no, she said, pick anything else. She goes, I would if we had the room. So,
Man.
rock on 40 years later, I bought my Terradrome, which is sitting behind me here, the Cobra base, and went to pick it up from the guy. And he had a flag. And that was the second one. But this one was set up where I could see it and actually touch it. And my wife's with me, my sister-in-law's with me, and they're looking at me because I'm not even paying attention to my Terradrome anymore. I'm over here at the boat. I'm looking at the boat, just checking it all out, and they're going, what is it? I said, it's the flag. I said, this is the thing that I want. I said, I never could get it. And I said, this is what I want. And the guy was going to sell it. And another guy had already promised to buy it. And I said, man, if he backs out, I said, you let me know. I'll be right back in about 3 hours to pick it up. So the guy bought it, and I rocked on maybe another month. And I bought the flag after my 47th birthday.
Who'd you buy the flag from?
A guy in Russellville, Alabama.
Not the guy you were just talking about.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. The other guy, his buddy bought it. He paid him for it. So I was like, well, I'm out there. So, I'd give up on getting one.
This close. This close.
Yes. And his was really complete and really nice. So a guy named Chris, and I won't say Todd was his last name, lived over in West Alabama. He puts it on Facebook, G.I. Joe Marketplace for $400. And I see this and I contact my wife. I said, I found the boat. I said, can we go get this? And she said, you've got the money. You spend it like you want. And I thought, yes. And I'm sending message to get it back, And 3 days rocked on. I thought, man, he's done sold it. He just ain't replying.
Oh, really? Oh, I'd be climbing up the walls.
Oh, no, I was having a heart attack. I was like, and all of a sudden he sends me a message. He goes, are you interested in the flag? I said, yeah. Yeah. I said, truly.
Oh, shit, goes, Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, he goes, well, can you meet? And this was on a Monday or Tuesday. He said, can you meet me Thursday in Russellville, Alabama? I said, what time do you want? 6 a.m., 12 p.m., what? And he tells me 4 o'clock at evening. I said, okay. So Russellville is about 3 hours from the house. We take off in the god-awfulest weather to go over here and get this thing. It's raining, storming. And as we take off, I'm telling him I'm on my way. I'll be there at 4 o'clock to get it. Okay. And then he would, send me a message, where you at now? And I'd tell him, I'm asking him where he's at. Well, the closer we got to Russellville, the less I heard. And I thought, oh, this guy's high-hatting me now. I have drove 3 hours to get nothing. Mm. And my wife's like, just calm down. He'll show up. I'm like, I'm hoping so. I'm like, I really am. So we parked at the Tractor Supply. I'm sending a message telling him exactly where we're at. Finally goes, I'll be there in 20 minutes. 30 minutes rock on. He finally pulls up and gets out. And I'm like, holy hell, he finally showed up. I was like a 2-year-old kid just waiting on him. He starts, as soon as he gets out, handing me to the deck and this and that. And I'm running back and forth to the Tahoe, putting it in. And I'm thinking, man, I just get out here with what I think I got. I'm ahead by miles. And sure enough, he gave me more stuff than what he took pictures of. And it was probably 80% complete then. Right. And I'd went to a toy store down here below the house in Gadsden. And the stuff he didn't show me pictures of, I went ahead and pre-bought, because I knew I had this. And I thought, man, this will be great. I can have this, start setting it up. And the old guy walked in, he goes, you've eyeballed this stuff for about a year. I said, yeah. He goes, have you got the flag? I said, I'll have it Thursday. And the old man said, when you get it, we want pictures to see it because we've never seen one. I said, Oh yeah, yeah. I said, I'll sure do that. And I bought the stuff, and like I said, we come home, and I'd pace back and forth, and I'd look at parts, and I was writing down what I thought was missing or what it needed and everything. And I was like, man, I really got a killer deal. The old boy wanted to sell it because he wanted to get into model railroad.
Perfect.
And I said, hey,
That's perfect.
hey, great.
Space is, you need space for either one of them.
Speaking of the flag, in some of the images that you sent over, Chadney, I saw something that was like a plaque about like an Admiral's Club. What is that about, the
Yes.
Admiral's Club?
I found that we were looking online for some stuff for the flag. And I don't know who created it, but they were at Joe Fest. And they made it for a Joe Fest only product.
Okay.
So it was really neat. It come with a pen, a magnet of kill hall, coin, challenge coin, and it's solid. And then the Admiral's Club flag that y'all have seen. And it was just we seen it online, and it was the only one I'd ever seen like that, and still have never found another one. And I bought it offline.
Right. I saw there was like numbered out of like only 100 or maybe even less than
Yeah,
that. Yeah, right. So
yeah.
you
I think I had 75 or 100 out of 150. I think it is. I'd have to look at it again.
okay, yeah, we'll put the image up
But
on the side over here. Yeah.
yeah, but I
75
mean,
or
it was
100 out of,
crazy.
I'm sorry, I missed what you were talking about.
It's a little certificate for the U.S. Admirals Club. When you get a flag, you become the
Oh,
admiral.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
okay.
like a boys club.
I
You get to
understand.
get
I
in.
understand. Yep.
So,
Members
but
only.
we seen
Yep.
it online. We don't even know how we found it. She was just looking up flag stuff, and it popped up,
I
just like
see.
my shirt. We seen the
Okay.
shirt on eBay and bought it.
I see it. Yeah.
You know,
You got a flag shirt too. G.I.
yeah,
Joe over there.
yeah,
I've got a Darth Vader,
yeah.
but this is an Andy Everson Darth Vader right here. We'll get into that later if you guys want. But this is like
Right.
an artist that does this type of stuff.
So once
Yeah.
again, the elephant in the room is the USS Flagg. It's a large GI Joe aircraft carrier. If you would
Yes, sir.
please describe to me as though I'm flying into it on a jet and gonna land on its deck, what is it that I'm gonna see?
It's kind of like the Top Gun movie. You're coming in on the deck where they land, and on the other side, at the other end, where they take off, you've got fuel cars, you've got a crane, you've got all of the control tower. It's got uh, the wheel and kill hall holding it, operating everything. It's got its own radar room, medical bay. I mean, there's just so many different options you could get. And then my wife bought me another thing, and this is a really cool thing. A man named Chris Deutsch makes it. When you buy the original flag, it's probably, I say, 8 inches high off the ground, and it has very little room underneath. He makes a kit called Raise the Flag. He has 3D printed parts, things to fix the superstructure, like where the hooks are bad to break, to hold it together. I mean, it's just a list of stuff. Anything you see from on my flag that is plastic enough is all original flag. And the other part is where Chris Dutch has made this book. It's called Raise the Flag. You get you get it, and it gives you all sorts of plans. You build it out of wood, and it raises it up a good 10 more inches. So you've got a lot more room. You've got a lot more area to put stuff in. Like in the front,
Um,
it's just
I think
wow.
I understood what you said, but I'm not 100% sure. So, is it a kit that allows you to modify your
Yes,
existing unit
yes.
by
It, it takes, it
elevating it
takes,
slightly, giving
yeah,
everything a little bit more room?
yeah. It gives you a whole lot more room because it's probably 10 inches by itself. You take and cut it out of wood, screw it all together on a big piece of plywood, and it's just makes everything opened up, and different rooms are broke down. It's all laid out. You've got like a mess hall. living quarters, bathrooms. At the back, I've got what I call like a mechanic shop, and in the front, I've got like the where the guys go to before they pre-launch. They go in, and sit down in the room, and get ready for their briefing and what they're supposed to do and things like that at the front. Then you go up to the main part of the flag, and you still got rooms you can put stuff in. So you've got like the control room with Kill Hall. I've got General Flagg sitting up there with him, which is really cool. I found online, and nobody sells them, Admiral Ledger off the cartoon. It was a Joe Fest thing, kind of like the Admirals Club thing, but I cannot find one to buy, or I'd have Admiral Ledger sitting in there with him. Somebody has 3D printed them, and he's cool. He looks just like the cartoon guy off the show. And I thought, man, if I could ever get a hold of one of them, he's going to be riding high up in the front, you know.
Right.
So,
But I've had no luck on getting one of them yet, and I have tried.
if I may ask some questions, the Flagg is a large aircraft carrier intended for, I'm assuming, the 3 3/4 inch size.
Yeah.
And so scale wise, obviously, it's a huge unit.
Yeah. It's a 1/20th scale, I think.
How long is it actually?
It's 7.5 foot wide. It's 4 foot wide, or 7.5 foot long, 3.5 foot tall, and 4 foot wide from outside to the outside of the deck.
And I'm
Okay, I've got it sitting on an 8 foot by 4 foot table. It don't hang off on the ends, but it hangs off across. I mean, it's huge.
going to assume.
And
Go ahead.
and at the time when they built it, that was one of the biggest playsets Hasbro had ever made.
For sure.
And just like the Star Wars maybe barge, it would be a empty, for lack of a better description, aircraft carrier, and then you would go out and purchase all the individual
Yes.
components and people themselves.
Yeah. It come with Kill Hall. Now it did come with Admiral Kill Hall. But as far as the rest of your deck crew, you had to put your own deck crew together, your planes, your helicopters, whatever you wanted to land on it or sit there and do it yourself.
So just like if I bought a Star Wars barge, I'd end up buying all the individual characters and all the small little things off to the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have Shipwreck? Is he part of the Flag?
Oh, I've got several of him hanging out. If you look in some of the pictures I sent, buddy of mine named Mike Redmond made me a lady figurine to go in there. Her name is Tight Ship. And he's got her all looking good. And I got her up on the top, and all the other guys looking at her like, hey, how y'all doing? You know.
What's her name again?
Tight Ship. SHIP. She's got on like Daisy Duke shorts, has on white knee-high boots, got her hair pulled up. I mean, but he made it, and then he's made me a couple other pieces, like up in the top where the missile launchers is. There's a little round circle sits there. There's nothing there. It's just about the size of a quarter. He made me a machine gun to go up there that rotates like to shoot down anti-aircraft missiles.
Oh, wow.
And then on the deck, you know, where they have the catapult system, you know, you've got guys actually in bogs sitting there launching off the deck. He has made the lid for it to sit down and like they're launching off and watching it.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And then you talked about your wife, and now this flag is in the middle of the living room. What's her reaction to it? It
is. Oh, she loves it. She has always helped. She's always helped me find stuff.
She's so nice to you.
She is. But when we went and bought this, it really turned her on to the G.I. Joe stuff. I mean, before we got out of the parking lot, she was already finding stuff that we needed, ordering it, getting it figured out, you know, things like that. I'm going down the road and I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, well, you said it needed this, this, and that, or off the top of your head. And she goes, hey, I found it. It'll be here Wednesday.
Wow.
Okay.
But I have into a collector.
Your
Yeah, yeah.
your motivation for collecting, whether it be Star Wars or G.I. Joe, is to have something as an investment. You like the way it looks. You're into it for the enjoyment, getting on the ground and playing with it.
Class two. I don't look at it as an investment because, and I know it's crazy, anything at any time could happen where you go from having a $3,000 piece to nothing. Least little thing could happen to it, get broke, or the market on it crashes. Y'all understand that by being a collector. You'll go out and buy stuff and be like, man, I paid this much for this, and now it's only worth this much. So I do it for the enjoyment and that I can play with it and still think I'm a kid at heart and give me 30 minutes of enjoyment, just getting it out, dusting it off, playing with it, zooming around the house, things like that.
So I have three questions. And one is graded. The second one is reproduction parts, and the third one is playing with them. Where would you say your collection items are at? Somewhere in that triangular area there?
Never had them graded. I couldn't tell you on any kind of grade standard anywhere except for I bought it and I've made all the original pieces work. And there's very little 3D printed stuff that I have on because I actually will search for the OG stuff. We want, you know, and some things you can't find that are still original, like my mask on the flag. I have the original mask, but it took me 2.5 years to get it
Wow.
because at one time they wanted $500-600 for a complete mask.
Wow.
And man, and that was one of the most easily broke pieces on it. And you'd find people selling broke parts for $250, and I'd be like, no, I don't want that. This is what I want. And I had a original, or it was a 3D printed mask. It didn't look exactly like the original, but it was cool. So since I didn't have the mask, I put the 3D printed on there, and it was just as cool as the original to me. But I was fumbling around on Facebook one day, and the guy had all of it for sale for $200. And I said, "Is it all there? Is it broke? Is it in good shape?" He goes, "No, it's in good shape." And he's a seller. His name is Jonathan Robo. I can't say it right because he's from Louisiana. I won't say Robeson if I get it close. And he said, "Yeah, man." He said, "You know me." He goes, "If it's not, I'll tell you." He said, "There's one piece that's cracked that holds one of the antennas on." I said, "Man, you can take glue and glue that. I'm not going to be that guy that's because I want it. Just a little dab of glue. If somebody going to nitpick me for that, okay, great.
Sorry, I
Gripe
didn't
if you
buy it
want
for
to."
that guy. Bought it for me.
Yeah, yeah. And my wife, because I laugh at her, and I was telling Jack it's been a couple of years ago. I have lights that run down the runway. At night, I turn the lights on. It looks like you're landing at night. And I have lights that run under the deck all the way around and even
I
through.
want pictures of that, video of that.
Okay, I will. And I also took 32 feet. I got you, Jack. I took 32 feet of LED lights and strung under the deck.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And when you turn it on, it's red, white, and blue.
Oh wow.
You can have any color you want, but it had the red, white, and blue color scheme. So when I turn it on, if I'm feeling real patriotic, I'll turn the red, white, and blue on with it.
Nice.
But on the outside is blue lights that wraps all the way around the boat. And at night, it lights up the whole house.
Very cool.
My wife calls it her night light.
That's great. That's great.
It's funny because I had a neighbor, he walked by one night and he said, "Man, you was up at 4 o'clock this morning." I said, "No, no, what and why?" He said, "Man, your living room was lit up." I said, "Oh, that's my boat." He said, "What?" And he's an older man and he's a big Star Trek fan. He said, "What kind of boat you got?" And I said, "It's a G.I. Joe Flagg." He said, "I'm coming over to see this. I just got to see this." He goes, "I'm really shocked." I said, "Okay." And he come in and seen it, and he was just about as big a kid as I was. He was looking at it. He was looking at the planes. He was checking out all the different stuff. And he goes, "Man, now that is cool." He said, "I've never seen one." And I said, and I don't know why it was such a big toy back then. You would think more would be out, but they're not.
Yeah,
And I
there's not a
don't
whole
know.
lot of them.
Even if you're in the USS Admirals Club, you still only have a few hundred admirals. You can't tell me they didn't, make tens of thousands of these at one time to go across the world, you know.
True. But how many
But it's
survived?
just,
And yeah,
yeah.
right.
And if you found one in pretty decent shape, then you were doing good. There's a guy that, me and him, I bought stuff from the original pieces on mine named John Fritz. He has, I don't know how many flags that he's bought since I got mine. And he'll either sell them as a whole, or if you need parts, he's got the parts. I mean, he's got it all. I bought a set of blueprints from him, give $150 for these cheap. It's like opening up a New York Times paper. I mean, it's just huge, the blueprint on this thing. It tells you how it goes together. Then it's got its own separate sheet for all the stickers that you've got to put on it.
And you have both those sheets for the flag?
I do.
Wow,
I
that's
do.
awesome. And then
Yeah,
you collect the blueprints for all the vehicles or just for the
I
flag?
do.
Why
I
do you
do
collect the
all of it
blueprints?
because it makes it mine. If that makes sense, it's something I want, and it shows that I put the time and effort in to make it my piece. So if somebody, like the the battle platform I bought from you, it was missing one or two pieces. I got the pieces and I got the blueprint to go with it because that makes it to me in my mind 100%.
Right. Oh, with the
One,
blueprint.
two,
Yeah.
it just if I want to open it up and go, well, hey, this is how this is really supposed to look, or this is how it's supposed to be, then I can't argue with Hasbro and go, well, that's not the way this looks or works. This is it. This is what you got.
Right. And then you
You
also said
know,
you keep the file cards for the Joes as
I
well?
do for all of them. Yes.
Oh. And
Yeah.
what's important about keeping the file cards? Obviously, you're opening them, but you're still keeping the file cards. Why is that important?
Because it's their personal information of who they are, where they're from. And I'll give you a little history on, Beachhead. Do you remember him?
Of course.
He is from Auburn, Alabama.
Auburn, Roll Tide.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was part of his info. He was from down there, Opelika, Auburn area,
Yeah.
grew up, raised up, become, a ranger and everything else, told about his life and everything else, which is cool because it gives you a little bit of, look into their life before they become a G.I. Joe and then what they mean to be a Joe,
Yeah.
like their rank, you know, what
How
they do
how,
and
how
stuff.
is those cards, those files? How is that displayed, or how do you contain it?
Just like I have them in two big, 3-ring binders. They're in plastic sheets that holds like, you can put like photos or these file cards and stuff like that. And they're probably that thick, I
Wow.
mean, they're just huge books.
So the collecting of that information is kind of akin to the comic book aspect, or people who collect comic books. It's
Yeah,
challenging to display that because it's
it
a
is.
very wide plain area. But you can obviously store and bundle a whole bunch of them together.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, because you open up most of your blueprints are about like that by that, and it shows the information about like my Mauler. It shows, what kind of motor tread, different things about it. And then you look over on the back, and it shows how to put it all together, put the stickers in the right spot, make it all match what Hasbro had it laid out as.
And all
You
of
know,
these items that you have, the flag, your Star Wars stuff, your Joe vehicles, are all contained within one area of a room, or you have a room
and my living room.
in your living room. Okay.
Behind me is probably a quarter of what I have.
Okay.
And I have a lot. If you'll see up there on top, I have them flying, all my planes and helicopters flying.
Well, I was going to
They,
ask, I did see a picture. You have a hanger, for lack of a better description, some mechanism
yes,
that
sir.
you attach to the wall that you could in turn
Yes.
then hook
It,
or place.
yeah. Tony Stewart makes these. They're 3D printed. It holds the Conquest, the X-30. That's the one that holds it to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent pictures to Jack of me putting them, when I put them together and hang them up, where they're sitting up there on the wall flying. But right now it's currently sitting on the flag because I took one of my Sky Strikers and put it back up. There's a gray colored one, and my wife, this is how much my wife has got into the flag. She wanted a naval looking Sky Striker. So I had 3 bodies and a bunch of parts. I took it out there, sanded it, painted it, put all these parts together to make one. And it looks like a actual naval F-14 Tomcat.
Wow.
And as you see, they're flying with the wings swept back.
Right.
Another guy I met, he makes a control, like when we were kids, if you had the landing gear down, the wings had to be out or back or vice versa. He's made a readjustment on 3D printing. Like when you go to push the wings out, the landing gear don't come down anymore. You have to
Oh,
open
wow.
the landing gear, and it's cool. All my other ones are like that now. His name was Mike Pello, and it was just neat. It's just I seen him offered online, and I was like, hey man, I need a couple of them because if you go back to the Hasbro, the new version of the Sky Striker, it already does that. But where the other ones, when the wings were out, it was landing. And if you
Interesting.
wanted the landing gear down and the wings swept back, it wouldn't do it.
You'd have to break it.
So
Yeah.
tell us the fighter jets that you do have.
I have the Night Raven, the Sky Striker. I've got the Rattler, which that was a cool one. This looks like the A-10 Warthog. I love it for the bad guys. Yeah. Yeah. Love the wings. I have the Mamba. I have the Tomahawk. I've got both Paynes. I've got 2 different versions of the Dragonfly. A buddy of mine, named Steve Woods sent me digital camo to put on one of my Dragonflies. So it looks like a jungle edition now instead of just Dragonfly. And I have become buddies with toy hosts. Every time I redo one, I have to call them, get new GI Joe stickers to put back over the outside. So
And
it looks original, but it's got like digital camo,
the
things like that.
that you have displayed, some of them I can see are up on the wall that look like they're flying. I can see there's a curio cabinet you have.
Yes.
How is the rest of the collection displayed?
Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can turn it where you can see it. That is the other curio cabinet I have.
Yep.
And it's about 6.5, 7 foot tall, probably 5 foot wide, packed full. That is your U.S. flag right there. That is the ship that we have described.
Very
I don't
cool.
know if you can see it. I don't
You
know if
got
you
the
can see the
tank
lights
on the
underneath.
flag. Yeah.
Those 3 pieces sitting there, the tank and the bridge layer and the flag is my favorite thing. I got the bridge layer and the mauler down so I could show it off because that's other than the flag, maybe the tear drone, that is my favorite 2 pieces. When I say I get down in the floor, I get down, turn the tank on, it works. It's got a control switch in the back. It goes forward, reverse, left, right. And I'll
What's
let it run
what's
around the
in the
room.
curio cabinets?
Oh, let's see. I've got the Havoc. I've got the Hydrofoil. I've got the Snowcat, the All Striker, the I can't ever think of the G.
Okay, I need to
I just
grab the
went blank
steering
on
wheel
it.
here just a little bit. And where's the Star Wars stuff?
It is back here on top of the curio cabinet on
Okay.
the little one.
And so that looks
I
like
have
what, an AT-AT up there?
and the ST and the Millennium Falcon's hanging down here to my back
Okay, okay,
under
okay.
the
I
flag.
see it. I see it. Very cool.
I hung it up like it was going through the air because there's no good way to hang. So I made me a set of hangers to hang it up like it was flying through the air taking off.
I'm gonna post some pictures on here. There is a good way of hanging up. That's fishing line. And I've got it in the other room, and it's very realistic. Everything's pitch stitched
I
right.
bet it is. I've always been scared to hang anything with fishing line because I've seen some of the stuff I've tried catching and it break,
I,
and I
I
can see
I tell you, I will be honest. I always wonder when something's going to come tumbling down. But the irony was, as we were sitting here talking, the girl from Rocky Horror Picture Show, she fell down, and all this stuff you see back here, other than the Batman thing,
The Batwing.
yeah,
and Superman, everything else is just sitting there. But she's
yeah.
the one that fell. Not to say I'm doing it right. It's just I'm surprised she's the only one that's ever fallen.
Lasted longer than you thought anyway. But
uh,
yeah, it's just I like hanging my stuff up, and I've asked Tony Stewart if he makes some of the Star Wars hangers. He does for the Y wing, I think the X wing, and I won't say he was trying to do the Millennium Falcon and the TIE Fighter. He just hasn't got the brackets worked out to where it'll hold it.
aside from the lights, the LEDs that you put onto the flag, any other lighting to accentuate or show off anything in the room?
Uh, I can light up my terror drone. It's red and blue.
Uh,
Where
t-
the
Talk to us
fire
a
back
little bit about this terror drone.
it is the Cobra's base. It's the bad guy base, and it's another holy grail piece, and it's 100% complete. Everything's in pristine condition. All the doors open. It's got a hatch on the top. It's got fingers that come out, and you can open it back up, and the fire back comes out, and it's another one of Cobra's planes, and it's a pretty cool looking little. It looks like a bullet with wings to me is what it looks like. And you can open up. It's got like mechanic bays. It's got a jail. Oh, it's got several different little side places that you can put people in. I mean, it's just neat. I want to get me, and I hate to say this, I'm trying to save up to get me a little mall-in-law building because I want to set up everything I have, but my living room won't hold it and my basement won't either.
Which was just going to be my next question. Do you have the ability to expand?
Not right this minute, I don't. Because I have sat and tried to figure out how many feet I actually need of a building to put it out on tables. I've even got G.I. Joe headquarters. I've got it boxed up
We we
because I
invite,
just don't have nowhere to put it.
we invite you to view episode 38, which is Tracy Oxley from Oklahoma, and you're going to see how and where you can put Star Wars in every little nook and cranny of your house.
I can believe I could probably set it out. The whole thing is I want it like when you open up a door and walk in, you're mesmerized by it all. It ain't just one
Tracy
piece
Oxley.
here.
Tracy Oxley. You got to
All
watch. He's
right,
from Oklahoma,
episode
episode
38.
38.
All right, that sounds good. But
Did
yeah,
he
I would.
even? I think he even had him up on the ceiling. Yes.
I don't think he ever went ceiling. It was wall to wall, room to room,
Toilet
wallpapered
to
Star Wars.
tub. Toilet to tub.
Kitchen. Yeah.
Kitchen to counter.
Right. You open the
Hey, there's a
the
guy.
cabinets and it's inside the cabinet.
Oh yeah, open it up. There you go. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that surprise. If you don't know what you got coming to you.
So we have a pretty good idea as to who the collector in your house is, but I am going to ask the question just to see how you answer it.
My
Who is
wife.
the collector?
I I give her the credit because if she didn't help me, I wouldn't have half the stuff the way I wanted it. I've always been the one that wants it, but when it gets to blueprints or file card or weapons or pieces to it, I'm like, hey, honey, will you help me find this? And she gets on the phone and pulls up eBay or Amazon or any other little website we can think of, and she finds it for me and helps me complete it. So I'm the one that blows the money and finds it, but she's the one that helps finish it and complete it. So it's
Here's the part that we ask the hard question. Would you say that you are obsessive, compulsive, budgeted, under control, out of control?
if you've seen the whole thing out, I'm out of control. I'm obsessive.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie about it. Because I started 3 years ago with this collection. I started from having the bridge layer. I turned around and spent $600 on the Mauler because it was complete in the box and everything. As soon as it got here, it got pulled out of the box, put together. I mean, I even saved the plastic wrappers that the Mauler come out of. But it was one of my favorite pieces, and I wanted to show it off. So, yeah, I probably am obsessive about it because once I get focused on it, and like the flag, I worked a month and a half, 2 months finding all this other small stuff, trying to make it all complete, do everything, have it ready to sit here and show off. And then she went and bought the raise of the flag for me for my birthday and had to put it under it. So it's done now. I don't know if I can go much further with the flag other than putting foam under it and floating it in a pool.
Right. It's
And
complete.
I'm scared to
You're
do
done.
that because I'm afraid it would sink and then I'd be in trouble.
For sure.
Speaking of showing off, who sees your collection?
Everybody that walks in the door of my living room. All my friends, have people stop by, like trying to say something, stuff like that. When you open up the door, you see it. I mean, it's not hid. I mean, it's in a wide open view. So when you see it, you get to see it all.
And what's the reaction? What do people normally say when they see everything?
Wow. How old are you again? I'm like, I'm 10. They're like, do you know how much money you have spent on this stuff? And I'm like, yes, I do, because I bought it. I said, I have Harleys. I have old Chevrolet trucks. I spend money on all of it, but I love collecting stuff. I really need to quit. So maybe one of these days I can retire, but I enjoy it. I'll take my phases, like.
That touches on one question, but I do want to go back a few steps. There was a question that we didn't ask. Do you know what it was, Jack?
About where he's buying this stuff?
Well, that and the boxed and the loose, but
we talked a little bit about some boxed and loose stuff. Yeah, he's more of a loose guy. In fact, like we talked about your Mauler, you said that you bought it in a box. Was it a sealed box that you opened?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I give $600 for that thing. And as soon as it got here, it was at Christmas time. And that was my present. My wife, she bought it. I'll tell her she bought my Christmas present for me. But as soon as it was here, I laid it out on the table and put it together. 45 minutes, an hour later, I'm in the floor playing with it.
You bought a sealed Mauler.
I do.
And opened it. Wow.
Yes.
It is.
This is where it falls under that.
Open the box or leave it in the box or don't touch it. I mean,
no, it was
short little Christmas. If all you're doing is, oh, thank you for that beautiful box.
Yeah. No, this is why I say I'm obsessive with it, because I will open up stuff. It don't bother me because I bought it. I love it. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
It'd been 30 years since I had one.
Yeah. Right.
It would kill you to do it. I know.
No, I would open it. I've opened things. Sometimes what I'll do is I won't open it myself. I'll have my nephew open it. So we had a biker scout that was a 40-year-old biker scout, Return of the Jedi, mock
Yeah.
on the card. And for his 40th birthday, he had never opened a vintage Star Wars figure. That was his birthday
Oh,
present, was to open the figure. I didn't give him the figure to keep, but he did get to open the figure.
you get to open it, but you can't keep it. It's like taking a fat kid to the chocolate store and say, "Hey, look, you can look, but you can't touch."
Well, his gift was opening an original Star Wars figure.
And
So
then
he always has that memory.
the other
Now, I
question,
bet he enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think so.
the other question you were going to ask about.
Well, I'm just about like the source, but I think Chadney kind of said that they get on eBay, they go to Walmart, they're
Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah. And then you've got
Yeah.
some things for
I
me
did
as
hear
well.
you mention
Yes.
eBay and Amazon only in words, no experience. It seems as though Facebook was a more popular
And-
place for you.
yeah, because they have so many GI Joe pages. You have collector pages, you have fan pages, you have the ARHA page. I think I'm spelling it right.
Yeah, a real American
I
hero.
can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they would post stuff to buy. And of course, I'm buying off of these pages going sight unseen, except for, oh, you got a picture here. But I had really good success with that. That's how me and you met,
On the Facebook group.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's become a friendship, I mean, and I have met so many people and become friends with them between buying stuff or talking about this or doing that or just trading around. And I love the horse trade as much as I do buy, because you'll find people looking for stuff and I've got a box full of parts and I'm going, "Hey, I think I got that. Hang on, man. Let me go check. Hey, you've got something I need. You want to just swap? You pay the postage. I pay my postage. You give me your address. Boom. We're down the road."
So you're good with Facebook. I assume you're okay with eBay. Amazon was obviously primarily for brand new stuff. What about, and I think you mentioned a local toy store?
Yeah, down in Gadsden, Alabama. Do you remember the name of the toy store down there? I think it's Gadsden Toy Store. It's just a little old mom and pop's place. You got enough room to walk in and see all their Star Wars, G.I. Joe, baseball cards. They've got like for women like China pieces, pots, pans, just and that's what it is. They even got some of the old Tonka toy stuff, things like that. And it's an older couple. And me and the older couple, especially the lady, we'll get in there and we'll barter around and she'll be like, "Oh, this is 100% complete." And I'm like, "No, ma'am, let me show you." And she looks at me and she goes, "You really know your stuff?" I said, "No, I don't know everything, but what I've had over the years, I remember and know what this was to this." So it was just like, okay, cool. I get to do this, get to do that. So it's been really cool.
Brings me to what I believe is our two most recently added questions. The first one is not to ask you what you think the value or the investment that you have is, but insurance, collectibles insurance, is that something that's appealing, not appealing? Your thoughts there?
I have it on my homeowners. And the lady looked at me and I guesstimated anywhere from 12 to 15,000, because at the time the market was really high for stuff. Things were selling really high.
I'm
If anything
curious.
happened,
I'm curious.
you know,
How did she get you to define that 12 to 13,000? If that's the number you came up with. I mean, did you just come up with a
so
dollar amount,
yeah,
or
I
was
just
it a
guesstimated
specific
about
list?
what I spent, you know. And yes, she wanted me to write a list, and I did. It took me
Okay,
2 days,
okay. So there was
but
a definitive portion of it
yeah,
involved.
and pictures of it.
Oh, you did do the pictures then too.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, 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 okay. That was kind of what I was trying to get out of you. To me, through Farmers Insurance, which wanted pictures of everything, I just didn't have the interest in a whole new project.
Right.
And so I was able to come up with collector's insurance policy online that was willing to accept
What you
everything I
had.
buy goes through QuickBooks. And so I can
Yeah.
print it out a list of collectibles and what I paid for it. It doesn't offer them any visual things, but it is a list. And then my other new
Jim,
question.
before you get to that question, let me ask Chadney a follow-up question as far as like when people see the items, what is like other than the flag, because I know that takes up the room, what is like your showcase item? What's like that special item that you make sure that you show everybody?
The Mauler and the bridge layer, because it was my original two pieces as a kid. It holds as much value to me as the flag or the terror drone.
The
It's
Mauler
just,
and the
I
bridge
love
layer.
them.
Yeah. Right.
You know, yeah, I just love them two pieces. That's what got me into this. And, 40 years later, I'm still here, you know.
That's a great follow into what Jim was going to ask.
So you've had that stuff for about 40 years. Let's just put yourself another 20 years down the road. Where is this stuff and where's it going to go?
I don't know. I hope it's still here with me if I'm still here in 20 years. And I have a daughter and I love my daughter to death. But she said, if anything ever happens to y'all and I have to sell this stuff to take care of y'all, and I guess you thought we was going to have to all go to the nursing home. She named off what she would sell it for. And I said, honey, you can't even sell my mauler for that. I told her, I said, look, the boat's worth $2,000-3,000 by itself, if not more, just depending on who wants it. And then she was like, are you serious? I'm like, honey, I could sell this collection and pretty much go buy a new car with a good down payment. And she goes, well, I guess I'll have to keep it then. I said, you can have some kids and they can play with it if it still holds up, 20 years later,
Yeah.
you know.
Good answer. Good answer. Who is your favorite character? Star Wars or G.I. Joe, whichever.
G.I. Joe, but
Wait,
just because it fell into what I really love. It was like now you can buy so much like lightsabers, the helmets, all the, suits. But when we were growing up, you couldn't get that. But you could have camouflage, your backpack, you can make you a wooden gun. Off to the woods you go play G.I. Joe. You could be the real American hero in your backyard. So that's where that kind of took me there is I guess the realistic of it, like I said, you could go to the Army surplus store, buy your outfit, get you a backpack, make, your dad help you, keep you from cutting your fingers off, but make you a toy gun or get you a baseball and paint it black, make a grenade, hit your friends with it, whatever, kind of deals.
Do you have a favorite G.I. Joe character?
I'm going to have to go with Toll Booth because he was my first.
Toll Booth.
Yeah, the bridge layer driver.
Right.
And
Interesting.
and then you've got heavy metal with the Mauler.
Okay.
And then I guess my third would be Beachhead because he's from Alabama.
Right.
Just because he's a hometown guy. But
There's a action figure, G.I. Joe named Rock and Roll,
I have him.
and he's from Malibu, California.
So you won't be rock and roll then.
Yeah, I'm not rock and roll, but yeah, I just like saying that's our hometown guy. We got rock
Yeah.
and roll. Yeah.
But I always thought that was really cool, that he was the hometown guy.
Right.
I was
Auburn.
standing at Walmart and I was looking at the package going, Beachhead, okay. And I flipped him over and I started reading it and I went, oh wow, he's from Alabama. I gotta have him.
And
And
you
off
think
he
he would
comes
be
to the
from a
house
coastal
with.
city or something,
Well,
Auburn's
Auburn's
not on the
about
coast.
no, it's about 2 hours from the coast.
Right.
But yeah, you would think so. But I'm really surprised they didn't say Montgomery or Birmingham or Huntsville. Something.
A little bigger.
Yeah, where military stuff was.
I bet you if you dig into it, there's a specific reason why he's listed as that particular place.
I'm sure all of them are if you break
There
it
is a
down.
specific reason. And as collectors, it's that kind of uniqueness that drives us to find
Yeah.
everything we can about those items. I want to say thank you very much. It's been
Oh,
a
I've enjoyed
great,
this.
a
I
great
appreciate you letting me
conversation.
come on.
Um,
I hated I didn't have enough Star Wars figures for you.
that's
I just
right.
had the smaller collection there.
Well, we got a chance to talk about the flag. So once again, thank you very much for spending so much time with us.
Oh, I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that I've always called Chadney his collection the museum because it just keeps on growing. Everything is authentic. Everything's 100% complete. If you want to see the items, how they were originally sold back in the 80s, the late 70s, Chadney's got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I just want to
Yeah.
remind everyone out there, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and like this video. Obviously, there's something that you like about this. The subscribership continues to jump up, so go ahead and subscribe to this video. If you have any comments or questions for Jim, myself, or Chadney, anything that you heard here today, you want some more information, go ahead and leave a comment. Chadney, I always end by saying, may the force be with you, but I guess for tonight on the G.I. Joe slant, I'll say, yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.